Folks, good afternoon. Welcome to another bit of a rant on the hobby. When I say rant, I'm trying to do these in a more constructive way, where I'm not just sitting here shaking my fist at the screen whilst drinking my tea. And I saw one of you actually got some Yorkshire tea in the last video. Well done, girl. Good for you. The rest of you, go out and buy some Yorkshire tea, because it's brilliant. You will absolutely not regret it. It's absolutely fantastic. Got a big mug of it in front of me that I've already drank half of it whilst I was writing this script, so there we go. It's kind of cold, but even cold Yorkshire tea is good. Today we're going to talk about shilling in 40k, at least on YouTube, the YouTube space where, let's be honest, it can easily be poisoned by certain things going on in the background that we don't actually like. One of them that drives me absolutely insane, and always has done since I left the company, is the absolute shilling of GW products that goes on YouTube. So today is going to be a bit of a takedown of that, but also a constructive talk about how I think it can be fixed moving forwards, or at least one technique I can see that's been used to fix it moving forwards. So I've actually been going over some old videos just to see what parts of content I can improve upon. And recently came across a video talking about shills in the 40k YouTube space. But in that video I also talk about creative assembly, which is not what I want to do today. I thought it was time to revisit this, at least from a 40k standpoint. In this video, I want to talk about how the 40k YouTube space is poisoned by those accepting open bribes, because that's what they are, from Games Workshop. And that it does not matter if they tell you they are accepting these bribes or not for the sake of transparency. The effect on our space is the same. Incredibly damaging. So, I'm going to be honest, I know a lot of these YouTubers will tell you, I got this for free from Games Workshop, thank you for sending it to me. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And I'll explain to you why in a sec. Have you ever had that feeling of watching a 40k channel on YouTube where they look at the models, paint them, review the content, and all seems very positive and exciting? Yeah, it feels good, doesn't it? Then they slide into the video at some point that they got the product that they are testing for free from Games Workshop, most of the time before that product has even hit the shelves for all of you plebs out there, like myself. Well, let's look at the loss of reputation that a YouTube channel can suffer from doing things like that. You know that, feel that sinking feeling when they say that to you in the video? It's called a loss of trust. This space is an incredible reach for Games Workshop. It is an incredible space for Games Workshop as YouTube. Being able to put their next to worthless, at least to them, models and products in the faces of fans by folks who are not paid by them is a godsend. If you receive Games Workshop products for free on YouTube, you're not getting paid for your opinion. I will say that right now, right? They're not paying you a cent. But they are buying your opinion. Right? You're not being paid, it is a one-off transaction, and you're being bought by worthless models. Free exposure is always good, and the disdain Games Workshop gives to its own stock, there is only one factor in this transaction between YouTube and Games Workshop, right? What I mean by that is, I've told this story quite a few times of when I was doing my training, and I was saying, you know, if somebody runs out of the store with a load of these models, what do? Do I run after them? And my trainer looked like he had, like, a white sheet came over his face. He was like, oh my god, don't chase after them. For God's sake, man, don't do that. That's ridiculous. And to which I was like, well, why? Aren't these models, they're worth a lot of money? And he just looked at me like I was stupid, like, oh, seriously? Are you seriously saying that right now? He said, he picked up a box of models of Primara Space Marines, and he said, listen, look at this nice new box of Primara Space Marines. And he opened it up. He took the plastic off it. That's how little they view their own products. He ripped the plastic off the top of it, got the sprues out, and held them up, and held the box up, and says, which of these is more expensive to make once we've done the molds? And I said, well, the models. He said, nope, the box. The box is worth more to anybody who isn't a hobbyist. The box is worth more than the models, because it costs more to make. After we've made the mold, made all of that stuff, right? We will the molds will pay for themselves within like 6 months of the models coming out. So once you've made the molds, done all that stuff, which one of these is more on the market is more valuable? It's the box, right? How ridiculous is that? But it's true. Like, it literally, that's the disdain Games Workshop holds for their own models. So when you say, oh, they give me so much worth models in terms of stock, in terms of, you know, being happy and giving people information on their products, I mean, come on. You know, let's think about it for a minute. Games Workshop may tell you, as a YouTuber, to say what you like about a product. They may openly ask you to give balanced feedback. But I'm here to tell you something. They're lying. You know the tacit threat is there? How long do you think you'll be on the free product train if you keep reviewing their things honestly? Not for long. This company uses you for free advertising, and they are making you pay for the privilege with your own reputation as an honest informer on the hobby as a whole. If you receive things for free from Games Workshop, you are no longer, or should be no longer, recognised as a trusted voice in the hobby on YouTube. Long and short of it. There's only a few ways out of it once you start getting free products, and I will go over one of them later. This loss of reputation is not negotiable or downgradable. So, if you're a beautiful woman or smiling face, you will still have those guys who stick with you no matter what. I'm not saying they'll all leave. But the real trust of consumers is lost if you accept these products for free. Not every product Games Workshop releases is stellar or priced fairly. Yet you will hear none of these YouTube channels who accept things for free tell you about the wanton price gouging on certain products they shill for Games Workshop. Ever. They will never, ever tell you that this is overpriced. Never. If they receive something for free, they'll never tell you it's overpriced. Even unconsciously, if you receive something for free, you are far more likely to look upon it favourably than if you actually paid for it. It's black and white. It's Psychology 101. This corrupts not just your audience's trust, but it corrodes your own truthful opinion. Alright? Do some of these YouTubers genuinely like some of the products they show you? Sure. I mean, they have to, right? But this honest glee at the things you like is buried underneath the fake smiles, the thumbs up next to products you don't really care about, the flicking through every white dwarf as if it is the best thing you've ever read. You have a responsibility to your viewers to give them information they can use to inform their purchases, and to let them know if they should hold off for a while. You fail in this every time you receive a product for free from a corporation that we know is not above absolutely nefarious behaviour. On a final note for this part of the video, when I was a Games Workshop manager, you were the YouTubers I would tell people to go and watch. Hell, I'd even get your videos up on the computer in the store and turn the sound up, just so people can see you shilling for products that you clearly don't like. Do you know why? Because it works. So many parents and customers were swayed by the pretty face or the overly happy chap who was not paid by Games Workshop but was bought through worthless stock, showing off overpriced tat that make the perfect stocking fillers for £30 a pop. It works. That's why they use you and throw you away, because I did it as well. Let's look at the damage to YouTube, or the YouTube space that we all inhabit here together. So, beyond the damage to your own channel, you actually harm the space that others use. If you are a viewer and you've ever whined about Outer Circle or people like that on YouTube being overly negative, quote unquote, and they're really not, by the way. I've seen Outer Circle and others outright praise GW models and books before, so it really grinds my gears where people call people like Valrak a shill when he doesn't get anything for free from Games Workshop. You know, they call Valrak a shill and say, "Oh, I don't listen to you because all of your opinions are positive." Dude, he just likes the hobby. He doesn't get anything for free. He plows most of the money he gets into his channel. Look at his channel. Look how cool it is, right? Outer Circle 2 has his own factory, does his own shit, right? This is not somebody who's taking money or products from Games Workshop. He's giving you an honest opinion, and sometimes quite a lot of the time actually, but on certain videos that I see, it's 50-50, or at least 60-40 of, I like 40% of this, but here's the 60% that they could improve. And that's from somebody who's actually in the industry making the models. Making their own models, making their own things. So, we've got to be careful that we don't chase away the actual people who are trying to help. Those two guys are on opposite ends of the spectrum, I know. But those are where the spectrum should be. You should have nice and jolly guy on one side, who just loves the hobby. And you should have, you know, a realist guy on the other side, who will tell you how it is. Good and bad. It's the guys who are on the extremes of both of these, beyond these two guys. Those are the problems, and those are the ones I want to not get rid of. You all deserve to be here, but just to realise the damage that they do in being here. Because I'm all about free speech, you can say whatever the hell you want. But I'm still going to call you out if I think you're talking bullshit. I really want you to go to some of these channels and see what the other side of the spectrum gets you. Right? Go to some of these overly positive channels, you know who they are. You know who they are. Go to some of them. Watch them and see what it gets you. It gets you nothing. You come away from there nowhere. You just come away from there dumber. You feel dumber. You feel like you've just been talked to like you're a child, right? I will not name channels in a negative way. I'm not about that. But one that used to rub me up the wrong way, they used to, was Tabletop Tactics. I still don't really like Tabletop Tactics. They're not my kind of guys. They're overly smiling, overly, hello, you know. It's like watching Blue Peter, but they're all wearing black. Just, ugh. But, like, I love the way the channel looks. It's just not, the content's not for me. But, they have turned it around in terms of their trust with me, and I'll tell you why. Back in the day over there, every single review was at least neutral with some good points. That was the lowest they would go to with Games Workshop. All while smiling hysterically at the camera. You can tell, though, that as the years have gone on, those lads and ladies have come to actually critique the books and models they get their hands on in more balanced ways. Mainly because, as far as I know, they actually buy the things they review to give away as prizes. And that's one good way to get around it that I'll expand upon later on. The Warzone Nephilim review that I watched a few days ago was a great one on Tabletop Tactics, and really hit on both sides of the fence, with them not liking certain things, and picking out positive points when they found them. Do I still trust what they say? Not really. It takes years to earn that back. They receive products from Games Workshop for free. But do I respect what they say enough to give these products a second look rather than dismissing them out of hand? Probably now, yeah. They have really turned around their review process, and I hope that they still receive their free products, I know, shocker, as if they do, then it sets a very good precedent moving forwards. I have a feeling, though, that if their flow of free swag from Games Workshop has not already stopped, then it may do rather soon, if they carry on with their more honest reviewing techniques. But, you know, big applause, though. I love their new content and the new reviews that they're doing. Go and watch them, right? You'll love them. And not for me, too smiley for me. I'm a bit of a dour Yorkshire tea drinker, so you know, not really for me, but you guys, you might like them. Anyway, when you have channels that blanket praise Games Workshop, you then need balance on the other side. Something I have tried to avoid. I've tried to avoid being that guy. I've tried to avoid over negativity. Go on this channel, we do talk about, you know, things that Games Workshop do that annoy me. And we talk about hobby nightmares, and we talk about these things and those things. But I do it for a cathartic release that you can live through, that you can actually listen to whilst you're making your dinner, or whilst you're writing something, or whilst you're walking a dog, or whilst you need that bit of time to yourself. Maybe you don't have very many friends who are in the hobby and you need somebody to talk to. That's why I do this, like a guy who's at a bar ranting at you about the hobby. I don't put much effort into editing or into things in the background, because to be honest with you, that's not what the channel's about. I honestly think it would take away from the experience that we have together, and that's very raw, it's very real. I sit here and I talk to you. I'm not manufactured, I'm not spliced, I'm not edited. You're getting my incoherent, sometimes, thoughts from a friend on YouTube. That's what's important to me. So I try to avoid that area of negativity. And I've had people say to me, why are you always ranting all the time? Well, because not all of my rants are negative. You know, this is a rant right here. But it's not all negative. I picked out some positives. And if you don't hold people to account, all we get is an echo chamber. That's all we get. We create a space that is rather like the dumpster fire of political discourse in 2022. The more you have people who are blindly positive, the more you will get people who are blindly negative. We have partisan idiots on both sides screaming louder than the people in the middle who just want to know which models and books look decent. That's all. The louder one side gets, the louder the other needs to be so it can compensate. There are negative, overly negative Games Workshop YouTubers out there that actually do nothing but inject bile and bad feeling into the hobby, generating and celebrating drama as if they were a pig at a trough. That's equally not what the hobby should be on YouTube, and I feel it only exists to balance out the sheer amount of smiling, squeeing shills that populate our platform at the moment. These people are seal-clapping every Games Workshop release as if it were the second coming of Rogue Trader, simply because it arrived at their door for free. Taking these bribes, that's what they are, from Games Workshop means a slow drip feed of poison into the YouTube space. And that's just how Games Workshop want it. There is a reason they nuked most of the best content from YouTube with chasing spurious copyright claims. They want it all in-house, controlled, paid for by you. If they don't own you with the threat of losing your direct line to free stuff, then they don't influence or manipulate the space of free discourse. And that, in essence, is what this site is supposed to be about. And the more of you who stick to taking your free shit from Games Workshop and giving opinions that aren't really your own, the more you will not only feed the machine of Games Workshop into doing shitty stuff to good people, but you will make sure that there will be equally toxic people on the other side shouting at Games Workshop for everything under the sun every single day of the week. You know? And before anyone has a go at me, I literally did a video last week on why Games Workshop are really good. So, anyway. What to do? So what do we do about this, right? Let's do some positivity. How do we get around this issue if Games Workshop are giving us free stuff? Well, all that moaning is well and good, but what to do, Mr. North? Let me give you an idea. I follow a YouTuber called Angry Game Centaur, or Angry Centaur Gaming. And for every game he gets free to review from a publisher, he buys a few copies to give away to subscribers. Simple as that. He pays for the product he is testing, even if he gets it for free, which immediately shuts down talk of Shilling and other things like that. He even manages to keep himself honest, as if a company does not send him free stuff anymore, so what? He'll buy it anyway. The only downside is that he will have to buy it on release like everybody else. This may not work with Games Workshop, I understand, as I think one of the many reasons they create so much FOMO, fear of missing out, with limited releases, is to make sure reviewers have to rely on their free product patronage to actually do their jobs, right? Because if you're one of these creators and you're critical of some of Games Workshop products, and let's say, for example, right, let's say you're Sword and Steel, right? Lovely girl, nice channel, right? Let's say you're Sword and Steel, and you're getting all these products for free from Games Workshop, and you're critical of a few products, right, in a month. And they cut off your legs. They say, no, well, we're not giving you any more free products, you have to buy it like everybody else. Well, if you're a video gamer, you can just go and download that game on release and review it, and people will wait for it because, you know, only the ones who are die-hard fans of that game will buy it on release, so you can still do your job. If you're that young lady, you have no chance now because you are in the market with all the whales, and you likely won't even get your hands on any of this merch or Games Workshop stuff anymore. Because it'll all be gone. You'll have to pre-order it like everybody else. And hope that it gets there on time. They can literally ruin your job by not giving you free stuff. If you paint yourself into this corner. You're between a rock and a hard space. How about this then? Take the ACG and Tabletop Tactics approach. Get your free product, right? And give away a few copies as and when you can buy them. Police yourself. Keep yourself honest. Realise the incredibly fortunate position you are in and pay a little back to those who have taken you so far. Right now, I'm in the midst of dealing with Royal Mail and UPN, because in the northwest of England, they are a joke. They are a joke, and I am this close to doing a rant on the Royal Mail, UPN, UPS, all of them up here. I'm this close. But it's not what I do normally, but I'm very close. And I have to put up with all that kinds of nonsense to try and get prizes out to people. I'm sitting at the moment on 10 box sets that I don't want or need. They're just taking up space in my office. I'm sitting here piled in by these things because they keep coming back to me from Royal Mail. Because it's not... They say, oh, well, you didn't tell us what it was. I said it's toy soldiers. I literally say it's toy miniatures. No, they're not. They're ornaments. How are they ornaments? How are they ornaments? You have to make them yourselves. Fuck off. Right, so, like... I'm sorry, I turned into a chicken there. They're driving me insane. I'm getting to the point where I'm going to have to start driving my prizes to people's houses if they're in the UK. And I'm going to start doing that. I don't want to have to do that, but, like, it's getting ridiculous. But I do this because those people helped me, and they deserve a little back. So, try, invest in your own reputation as a YouTuber, and see the flood of credibility your opinions receive. Especially if you are actually honest and show them without a massive Games Workshop coloured filter for a change. You know? But what do you guys think? Do you think the YouTube space is kind of perverted by Games Workshop shifting their weight around and giving their patronage to certain people and keeping it away from others? I'm telling you now as well, I'm saying this right now, I will never accept anything for free from Games Workshop. I don't want it. Like, I literally don't want it. I would rather you guys trusted me and had me here to speak to and to know that what I'm telling you is true in my own opinion, rather than having that wall between us. I've said that in public now. I will never accept anything from Games Workshop, ever. You know? Just is what it is. I would never do that. So, but what do you guys think? You know, do I need to get off my high horse here, or do I have a point? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below. If you really like what I do, then the Patreon button is also down below. I love you all a long time. I will see you tomorrow with a very special video. And I'll see you then. Have a lovely time. See you later. Love you a long time. Bye.